everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Mantra. Grab your cup of coffee because we are just waking up. We're recording at a new time. We've done this a few times before, and you can definitely tell my voice.
It's like a whole octave lower.
It is. I haven't woken up. I promise I'm here. I'm present, but I'm just like, I don't know. My voice needs to like warm up before it goes to its normal pitch.
Oh boy.
Oh, okay. A couple of housekeeping things before we dive in. I'm JJ. Mantra,
Oh yeah, I'm Sarah.
and you're Sarah, and we're the
Mantrax. Good job.
No, so last week I do want to apologize because we gave no warning. It was an unexpected thing, but for the first time in 65 weeks, we did not drop an episode.
We were on vacation.
Yeah, we were on vacation, and most of the time when we're on vacation, we can try and we'll record at a weird time, or we'll post 2 episodes, or we do manage to squeeze it in. But this was an unusual vacation. We've learned with our kids, we do short vacations, 3 days, but we put 3 mini vacations in a row. And so it was 3 days, come back for 1 day, 3 days, come back for 1 day, 3 days. And it was...
Those 1 days in between were almost worse because my nausea resurfaced significally and we were all really tired. And
because of...
Everybody knows that we're having another baby.
World, they don't.
Okay, nobody
Many
nobody cares. Nobody cares after you've had 2 kids. They stop paying attention.
Baby
we are having
5
another baby.
Is on its way, and we are thrilled and so excited about that. So yeah, that's part of what's been messing with our scheduling is, obviously pregnancy and whatnot. But no, we had a great time on vacation. It was so much fun. We had, highs and lows. Kids got sick. Kids had a great time. But it definitely messed with us, and we just weren't able to get that episode out. We thought about it. We were like, we could squeak in one, and it was going to be low quality and really rushed. And it was
we were very tired, and we did not estimate correctly how much we had to do in between, so it just didn't happen.
Well, and that's kind of the thing. This podcast, it's supposed to be fun, and if it's not, and we're crushing trying to get it in, we're not gonna do it. So I can't believe we went 65 weeks consecutively.
I think we even recorded on Christmas Day last year.
Not Christmas Day, did we?
I don't remember, but Christmas Day was on a Sunday, wasn't it?
Oh, then we probably did.
Because I remember recording. Anyways, yeah, apparently. JJ's a little bit too serious about this whole thing.
It's a very, very important thing.
He doesn't have a lot of important things in his life, so this really gives him value. Pray for him.
Oh, man. All right. So anyways, we apologize for not getting that episode out, and yet we're not really that sorry because we're just going to do the thing we do when we love it. All right, let's approach the news desk. I've got funny stories. Do you have stories?
I do have some stories.
All right,
my first one is real short.
Go for it.
But the word school is misspelled as SHCOOL on a Massachusetts road.
Nice.
So they put the H before the C instead of the way it's supposed to be spelled. So it says, in Massachusetts, officials in Massachusetts in a small town said the word school was supposed to have been painted on the road outside a middle school, but was accidentally misspelled as SHCOOL. The town of Holden said the word, which was to give a warning about reduced speed limit outside of Mountain View Middle School, was painted about 2 weeks ago, and it has been unable to be corrected due to bad weather conditions recently.
Mm-hmm.
Says we expect to be corrected shortly and are very grateful for everyone's input in this matter. Everyone's probably
stop telling us.
Stop telling us it's spelled wrong. So some people joked that a temporary solution had been found while waiting for the road typo to be repainted. It included a photo of the middle school's name altered to bear the name SHCOOL.
Nice.
So
I like that.
Yeah, that's the whole story. It's just very...
Just the guys weren't thinking...
For all of the people who overthink certain words in the way that they're spelled, don't feel too bad because apparently those road workers did the same thing.
School.
When you're like, that looks weird. Is this how it's spelled or is this how it's spelled?
I feel like I've seen that as an old... I've seen that mistake made before. Like school crossing signs. I got to imagine the guys who are doing the painting... A lot of it's just lines and stuff, and it's very methodical, and you don't really think about what you're doing. You're just painting the squares, right? You're just focused on your spacing and making the lines even, or the machine that's doing it. So I gotta imagine with the lettering, it's not that much different. You're just just do it, just put it on, and Oh, but that is embarrassing.
It's a little embarrassing.
And probably super annoying. I cannot I bet every single person who drove on that road for
I wonder if they know it's spelled wrong. Like, and then calls into the city. I wanted to report a misspelling. Yeah.
They made that story because of all the phone calls.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
please stop calling the city. So, anyways, that exists in Massachusetts.
That's crazy. All right, my first story is a heart warmer. Is that a word? Yeah, it's a nice story. Man reunites with birth mom after 20 years. Find out they work in the same hospital. So there was a woman who she got pregnant when she was 14. She gave birth when she was 15, really young. So she gave up the baby, and she gave up the baby to the parents. It was a Utah mom. And then they reunited after 20 years. And turns out they'd been living like parallel lives. They were right next to each other.
Whoa, that's crazy.
After 2 decades of pondering and seeking, a Utah man was reunited with his biological mother after she unexpectedly wrote him a Facebook message last November. So Benjamin Hulleberg, who is a middle school substitute teacher, he's known since he was a kid that he was adopted. His parents, Angela and Brian Hulleberg, told him, right, you are adopted. They used to talk about his mom. Her mom's name is Holly. And they were very positive. We're so thankful for Holly. She gave us you, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And so he always knew about his mom. And when he was little, the parents would send Holly like pictures and letters and stuff about their son. But then the adoption agency that connected them folded. Like it closed. Oh. So all those records and stuff just like disappeared. Yeah. And so it wasn't anything malicious or anything, just the place closed. And so they weren't able to find. And so then he only ever knew her first name because that's how they did it. The birth mom only knew the parents' first name and last initial.
Oh, okay.
And then the parents only knew the mom's first name. So he always knew mom's name was Holly, but he had always been interested to find his mom. And so now she's 36, and she said that the baby has always been on her thoughts. It's a roller coaster of feelings, especially around holidays and his birthday. She couldn't stop thinking about her little boy. Then, fast forward to now.
Okay.
And the woman, Holly Shearer is her name. She conducted an internet search, and she came up with his social media page. He was 18 when I met him, and I was quite cautious. He had a lot going on in his life. The last thing I wanted to do was disrupt his life, so I simply stood back and observed. So before he found her, she found him.
Oh, so she found him on Facebook.
Yep, she found him on Facebook when he was 18, and she just kind of watched for 2 years. Like it's awkward. Like there's an 18-year-old, that's my son, but I'm not in his life. And
yeah,
it was unknown. All of this was unknown to him, who spent years discussing his desire to identify his birth mother with his parents. In the hope of locating her, he had mailed letters. He had registered with an adoption agency. He even took a DNA test. He's like actively searching, and she'd already found him. And then when she wrote him a Facebook message 6 months ago, wishing him happy birthday, his whole life was turned upside down. And basically it just said, they have a screenshot of the message and says, "Happy birthday. I hope you had a wonderful day." And he responds and goes, "Hi there. How do I know you?" And so then she says, "You don't know me. This is a little weird. 20 years ago, I made the hardest decision of my life and placed my beautiful little baby up for adoption with my beautiful family I have."
Oh, that's cute.
Can you imagine getting that message?
Nope.
Oh, he recalled that he's like, "I know exactly where I was when I got that message." He was working. He's a machine operator. And he's like, "I was next to machine number 15 when I got that Facebook message." Apparently the machines need to be checked every hour, but there's some downtime. So he's like scrolling his phone during the downtime. And that's when he noticed her message, and he quickly answered. It hit him like a ton of bricks when she contacted him and genuinely revealed who she was. It was very emotional. He said he was sobbing. Everything was very nice, but for him, this was the day he had been waiting for 20 years, and it finally occurred, and it was a lot to process. They wasted no time inviting mom to come to visit parents. So she came over. She had dinner with everybody. They got to reunite. They were super excited.
Oh, that's cute.
Then they find out that I think this is the coolest thing, he volunteers at a hospital in the NICU, like helping with the babies, and she works at that hospital.
That's crazy.
There's a very good chance that they were like in each other's world. Their reconnection lasted for like over 3 hours.
I was gonna say,
It had been 20 years. Sorry, my brain just is not functioning yet. This coffee cup is not empty yet.
Wow, that's crazy.
I just thought it was such a cute story. Mom finds son. Like, he's adopted. He's like, I've always wanted to find my mom, but the process, I can't seem to find her. And then on Facebook, she's like, hi, I'm your mom.
Wow, that's crazy. Unknowingly.
Unknowingly. It's like, I wonder who my mom is. It's like, oh, it's that lady over there.
But see, so I mean, it depends on the size of the hospital and where they work. It's like some hospitals are so massive, like you would never ever brush shoulders with certain people in other parts of the hospital. Like,
it's true, and he's a volunteer in the NICU.
Right, volunteers and your actual paid staff or versus
that's totally different, but.
So mine is less heartwarming, but still kind of cute. So a pearl found in a clam at a Maine restaurant becomes an engagement ring. Aww. Pearl found in a clam, not an oyster. Okay. So a Rhode Island woman found a pearl in a clam she was served at a restaurant, and it ended up becoming her engagement ring.
That's cute.
So this woman, Sandy Sikorsky and Ken Steinkamp, said they were dining at a restaurant and raw bar in downtown Westerly in Rhode Island with his brother and wife in 2021 when the woman, Sandy, ate the last of the clams. That's when I tasted this big round thing in my mouth. I was thinking, what the heck is this? So I take it and I spit it on the table in my hand. And my sister-in-law says, is that a tooth?
Did you just spit out a tooth?
So Sikorsky's sister-in-law, a jewelry enthusiast, soon observed that the object was a 9.8 millimeter pearl.
Whoa.
So they had it examined at a jeweler's. And a jeweler confirmed that it was in fact a pearl. It's called a mercenaria pearl. It's a mollusk type of little animal which makes what looks like a little pearl. So a clam that actually made what looks like a pearl. It's made of the same material, calcite, and has another mineral in it, and it takes years to grow. He says the weight and size of this one probably took 50 years to make. I'm
going to show my ignorance here a little bit. What's the difference between a clam and an oyster? Are they different?
They are different, yeah.
But they look the same, right? They're both like the little similar shells that are like glued together.
Right. Except I believe that clams don't usually make pearls. Usually oysters are the ones where you will find pearls. Yeah. Okay. So basically what happened was she finds this pearl, they have it assessed, find out it's actually a pearl.
That's so cool.
In the clam that she was eating at the restaurant, and then they jokingly agreed that if they ever get married, they would have the pearl made into an engagement ring. Well, this past July 8th, the man decided to propose using a ring fashioned with the pearl as a stone.
That's awesome.
So they celebrated their engagement and went back to eat at the restaurant where they found the pearl and shared the story with their hostess who was working that night as well.
That's amazing. That's so fun. It's a little gross that they didn't find the pearl before they brought out the food. Right? Now, oysters, you do cook them, right? I mean, I think you can eat oysters and clams similarly, like where you just crack them open and suck out the inside. So the restaurant may have just cracked them open, made sure they're clean, and then put it out. That's it.
Well, and that's what the hostess said. It's like, it's so nice to hear their magical story. Oh, I hope you find something in there, but you never do. It's always a piece of rock or sand.
Ew. So I don't know. I don't think I've ever had oyster. Maybe I've tried it like once, but I
only ever eat canned smoked oysters. That's what I usually
cook it and cover it in something. I'll eat it, but like
I don't have so much an affinity for raw oysters.
No,
like something about the texture.
Out of the shell that's gross.
Yeah, the texture to me is difficult to get around, which is weird because I love sushi. So.
Oh my gosh, the cook was. I wonder how much it was worth. I don't know. Yeah, I wonder how much 9.5 millimeter.
This is a picture of the ring though.
Oh, it's very nice.
Isn't it? It's crazy how smooth it looks. So this was inside the oyster.
Wow.
Or the clam, I'm sorry. Yep. It was a clam, not an oyster.
Story. That's actually like a really big
sizable.
Pearl. That's so cool though.
Yeah. So anyways, just crazy. They got engaged with the pearl she almost choked on.
That's so
in her meal.
I love it though. I do. That is
random.
So fun.
So
all right. So I'm kind of excited to tell you this story because the article title will give you information that's really exciting. So the story, I'll just read it. Okay. Beetlejuice 2 filming set in Vermont is haunted by souvenir seekers. So
did they make a Beetlejuice 2?
No, they are doing it right now. Is the super exciting news that I wanted to give you. They are making Beetlejuice 2.
Is Michael Keaton going to reprise his role? Oh,
It
my
sounds
gosh.
like. So they're making Beetlejuice 2. So that was the big news that caught my eye. But they're set. People are stealing stuff.
Of course they are. Of course they are.
Souvenir hunters are haunting the Beetlejuice 2 movie set in Vermont. State police are investigating the two thefts, one of a large lamppost that's topped with a distinctive pumpkin decoration, and another is a 150-pound abstract art piece that was taken from the vicinity of a cemetery. Someone bundled up the lamppost, covered it with a tarp, and fled at a high rate of speed in a pickup truck on July 14th. So this was a couple weeks ago. While the theft near the cemetery took place several days later. The sequel to the 1988 movie is filming in East Corinth near the New Hampshire border. The original Tim Burton horror comedy about a home that was haunted by ghosts, played by Gina Davis and Alec Baldwin, and also starring Winona Ryder, was also filmed in the same place, East Corinth.
Okay.
For the new movie, Michael Keaton is reprising his role as the bio-exorcist Beetlejuice. The sequel also features Wednesday star Jenna Ortega and others. The movie is due to be released next year.
Really? They're making a sequel to Beetlejuice.
A sequel to Beetlejuice.
I feel like
that's not even the news. The news story is like people are stealing stuff, but it's like, I don't care about that.
Go Michael Keaton. Okay.
He's kind of like making a comeback lately. He it's not that he was ever like gone. I think he just sort of
I'm not saying he ever made it. I mean, I don't even necessarily call it a comeback. 1980s Michael Keaton was very different from 2023 Michael Keaton.
True. My gosh. I don't know that you ever saw the Spider-Man movie where he was the Vulture.
No.
He was creepy. He did a good job being a villain.
So he's gone a long way from Mr. Mom, apparently.
He also did, he was in that Flash movie, which I haven't seen, but he reprised his role as Batman in the Flash movie that just came out.
Good old Michael Keaton Batman.
Yeah, right?
Boy.
And so I haven't seen it yet. I do intend to, though, because I got to see Michael Keaton as Batman.
That's crazy. I didn't even know they were, I mean, I guess it makes sense. They gotta find out any way they can make, make that money off those cult classics.
I'm just glad they're making it with Michael Keaton, because I feel
it'd be weird if they tried to
Beetlejuice sequel 40 years later. Nope, that's not 35.
At least they didn't go with Timothy Chalamet or whatever.
Yep. Oh my gosh, do you want to talk about that?
No, not really. I know you do though.
Are you ready? Yeah, sorry, my brain froze. I was like, what's supposed to come next? Are you ready for Sponsor of Your Life?
I am. All right. So like we mentioned, we were on vacation the past couple weeks. And one of the things that we did most recently was we went up to Bayshore Camp in I don't even know how to pronounce the town's name. Probably gonna.
Me neither. Nope.
Gonna
Super
just butcher it. It's right along Lake Huron. Beautiful location. Right up in the same city as the apparently Michigan Sugar Company. Didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, we drove right past
we
the
literally
factory.
The driveway to the camp is like the driveway to the factory. So we were up there, and it was a beautiful camp. Location was gorgeous. We've never been.
Years I've heard of it.
Incredibly clean, incredibly well organized, beautiful space. A lot of activities for the kids. Kids had a great time. Nice location. It was a lot of fun. I was sad that we only spent a day there. It was so that you could speak for their opening night of worship, which was really cool. But yeah, it was a nice camp. I'd go back there again, maybe camp or something, and it was fun.
It was so much fun. Also, a little story. I was mortified. It was really funny, but also just horrible. So I preached Saturday night, the opening worship of family camp, which is their big thing. And then they had worship the next morning, Sunday morning. And the guy who was preaching is a friend. He's a pastor buddy of mine. His name is Reed Swanson. And he came up to me after worship on Saturday night. It's like 9 o'clock or 8:30 in the evening. And he's like, I can't believe it. You and I picked the same text, and you basically just gutted my sermon by giving all the teachings right now. And I felt so bad. So he had to like rewrite his Sunday morning sermon. He did a great job. It was fine. But I felt so bad. I've never had that where it's like back-to-back preachers who are writing separate sermons and we just happen to pick the same text.
The Spirit was leading to that text for this weekend, apparently.
I felt bad. And so it was a good text, and he rolled with it. He mentioned it, and he was like, so I'm going to build off of what JJ was saying.
It was good, yeah.
It was really good. But I can't believe I stole the guy's sermon. Preached first.
Dang you.
So yeah, he had to like rewrite late at night on a Saturday at camp. But no, but it was a really fun experience. The boys had a great time.
They did. They had a great pool and
Yeah.
a lot of fun activities. Kids loved their kid activities, with the exception of some of the kids that are a little more reserved and just really hard to encourage there. So, but that was true even when we went to the other camp earlier in the week. So
it's been actually, and that's been sort of
a process of encouragement.
Well, and that's been sponsoring my life. I have not done church camp in like decades. You know, like
I've never done church camp.
I've led camps. As a pastor, like I've deaned specific camps, but it was like I go for a week and campers come and then that's it. But this is more family camp style. So we went to another camp called Simpson Park, down in like the Romeo area, and that camp was also a ton of fun and it was just unique. There's all these families that come. They have tons of events for the kids. There's youth events, and then they have worship, and the worship is just. I mean, it's like church on a Sunday, but it's very intense, and there's just
all of these camps. Their worship services. Then this is so different from. Well, there's a difference between going to church on Sunday, where you go for like an hour, and then everybody complains that the service was too long because the pastor went over by 10 minutes. But like these worship services at both places started at 10:30 and did not end until afternoon, like after 12 o'clock. The evening services at both places we went to, worship started at 7 p.m. We did not get out of there before 9 o'clock.
Well, and it was like you didn't feel that though, you know?
No, because there was. Oh my gosh, I mean, it was like a good 45 minutes of singing and then 45 minutes of preaching.
Worship. Yeah.
And maybe a testimony in there or something, but like very different setup of worship. Like,
and I really appreciated, and maybe it's just because we were away from church buildings. We're in these like. They call them tabernacles. They're just like open air sanctuaries, a big wooden room. And they have electricity, but they're not super fancy.
Right.
And they're just these wooden structures. And the singing, and I guess that's what's sponsoring my life. That's what I want to bring up is the singing.
Oh, the acoustics of those buildings?
Maybe. Or just, I don't know if it was the acoustics or just the level of people worshiping there. You know, you get a couple hundred people in a building, and there's just a lesser level of, hey, we fancy because we at church.
Oh, but here's the difference. You are always up front.
That's
you
true.
never hear the people singing from the congregation.
No, and I love it. I like being up front. I love my job. I'm not trying to complain, but the ability to sit in the midst of the worshipers and just have that noise swell around you in the music. Plus, I found a couple of songs that I had never heard before, and I loved them. There was this one, it was Behold Our God by Sovereign Grace Ministries. I had to go look it up because it was so powerful. It was just such a great song, and we're singing about how incredible God is, and we're just like, behold, like look at our God and how amazing he is. And I loved it. It was so much fun. I was really enjoying the worship experience at these camps, both Simpson Park and Bayshore. They brought and I want to be clear that like their worship teams were not anything more or less than what you'd get on like a Sunday morning. Some of it was like, here's just a guy with an acoustic guitar, and some of it was like, here's a small band, but there's not like lights or fog machine. It's simple and stripped down, but just so powerful and really, really cool. So I enjoyed it. Family camp, both Simpson Park and Bayshore. That was definitely sponsoring life.
Yeah, very cool.
And I want to get to know that type of event better. It's new to me. I don't know. All right, so for our second half, I have two big things that I just want to talk about real quick. First is old. I just want to close the loop on it because it's still floating out there. We talked about it, but I never put it into the podcast. Our Muppetize Me game.
Oh gosh. Oh no.
So
you are gonna talk about this.
I do. I gotta talk about it. So a couple of weeks ago, somebody pointed out that Timothée Chalamet, who's going to be in the movie Wonka, which is a prequel to the Willy Wonka Charlie Factory whatever movie. What's the actual name? Charlie and the
name of the book by Roald Dahl is
right?
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Then the movie is Willy Wonka.
Well, they made a movie in the 70s called Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
That's Gene. What's his face?
That was Gene Wilder.
Right.
And then they made the Johnny Depp version in the 2000s called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, the Johnny Depp version. Okay.
It's actually called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
So now they're making a prequel about a young Willy Wonka, and it's just called Wonka. And Timothée Chalamet is, and I think he's going for the Gene Wilder effect, but he has kind of the wardrobe of Johnny Depp.
I don't understand.
It's interesting that the top hat and kind of the purple jacket. But someone pointed out that he is wearing the exact same outfit as Gonzo from A Christmas Carol, right? The Muppet Christmas Carol. And he's kind of the narrator of that story. He's got the top hat and the little like jacket that's kind of purple. And so somebody said, wouldn't it be funny if we redid Charlie and the Chocolate Factory or Wonka or whatever with Muppets?
I won't admit how many times we've done this with movies where we've talked and said, hey, let's make a Muppet version and cast the characters as Muppet characters.
I think it's so fun.
This happens quite a lot in our house. Actually, the 7-year-old gets on board with this way too easily.
He loves it. And
he loves this game.
He only has seen the 2 Muppet movies. He doesn't know.
Half the time he doesn't know the main movie that we're even talking about. He just wants to help us cast characters because it's fun.
It is fun. So I wanted to real quick try and fill in the cast of characters with the Muppets. So who do we think? Let's see. So I think Gonzo should be. I almost said Charlie, but that's wrong. Or Wonka, because that's funny. You were saying maybe that the little boy should be the human star.
I think that the main character should.
Yeah. So Charlie should be the human person. Wonder who should we use? Are there any child actors you know? Or someone who, when they were a child
play
actor?
Charlie from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? Oh, boy. I haven't given as much thought to this one, so.
No. I think the idea of Charlie was that, well, no, Charlie was healthy. It was the grandparents that were, like, bedridden all the time.
Yeah,
right?
they were all.
Because you could have used, who's the little kid from Home Alone?
Macaulay Culkin?
Yeah, there you go. As a kid, not now, but, like, Macaulay Culkin as a little kid. That would have been a cute one. All right. So, but anyways, I thought the perfect one would be Miss Piggy for the spoiled little daughter.
Are you talking about Veruca Salt?
Yes. Yeah. The one where the dad is like super rich and he buys her
he
whatever
owns a
she
peanut
wants.
factory or whatever.
Right. He owns a peanut. Right. So Miss Piggy just fits that spoiled brat. I want. And I thought it's a weird relationship for them, but I thought Kermit could be the dad. Because he's like, oh, yes,
he's
I'm trying to get
patronize.
you whatever you want. I'll get you whatever you want. And she's just mad at him constantly. I thought that would be pretty good.
Okay. And who would you cast as the Oompa Loompas then?
Oompa Loompas.
Rizzo?
I was torn because I think
Rat?
Rizzo and the Rats make great Oompa Loompas, right? That would be pretty funny. However, if Gonzo is Charlie, I think maybe the chickens should be the Oompa Loompas or some kind of factory
that
work.
actually makes a lot more sense.
Because they're kind of
because
his henchmen.
chickens are his,
So
Camilla and all of her flock.
Right? Because they're like always with Gonzo, right? But I like Rizzo better. I think it would be funnier if the Oompa Loompas were doing sassy commentary.
Well, because in Muppet Christmas Carol, Rizzo is the sassy counterpart to Gonzo, always offering little quippy.
Remember the creepy guy who like approached each of them and was like, I'll give you lots of money if you give me his secrets or whatever?
Oh, Slugworth?
Slugworth, yeah. So maybe that could be Rizzo, but I would want a bigger character for Slugworth. Like, because Slugworth in the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory movie, he was like non-existent, right?
Yeah.
And he just was there at the very beginning, and then he shows up at the very end, and we know, oh, he's the bad guy, right? And it's like, no, actually, he was working for Wonka the whole time. I would want Rizzo to show up more.
Because he provides a nice,
it's too funny,
witty banter. Yeah, I like Rizzo.
Yeah,
he's a fun character.
So that's why maybe I'll make him like head Oompa Loompa or something. And it's just the chickens. So
who would you make the little boy, the little German boy who always eats too many sweets and always eats too much?
Sweets.
What's his name? Augustus Gloop.
Augustus Gloop. Maybe just the Swedish chef because he's hard to understand.
That could be fun.
I see him like in the chocolate tube, like order, what's happening?
That would be pretty good. That would be good.
What about the spoiled boy who's always shooting stuff? The one who's like
Sam the Eagle. Just kidding. Sorry, it was a very
opposite person.
I know.
He could be the parent. He could be like the dad of child. I'm gonna shoot. He's like watching westerns and stuff, right?
Yeah, Mike TV. Who's really into watching TV.
That's right. Watch too much TV. Maybe Animal.
Maybe.
It's not quite the character though.
Animal doesn't really talk though. Like he says one word and just kind of starts freaking out. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember, what are the other characters? We had the spoiled girl who was a rotten egg, which would be really funny to watch.
You have Violet Beauregard.
Oh yeah, the gum chewer.
Yeah, the girl who turns into a blueberry.
Yeah, who would be funny to turn into a blueberry? There are not very many girl Muppets. I think we've bumped into this problem before.
Yeah, well, there's Janice from the Electric Mayhem.
Yep, the girl from Electric Mayhem.
I feel like Fozzie should be a key role in this film, and absolutely. He hasn't even come up in our conversation yet.
Him and Rolf the dog. But see, I'm trying to think of Fozzie. I almost suggested Fozzie for the chocolate for the German kid, but I'm putting Cookie Monster's personality on Fozzie Bear.
Yeah, that's very different.
Cookie Monster would be great for that Augusta group, but we're crossing boundaries there as far as
that would be weird.
Parallel universes.
Because Fozzie is much more like silly, aloof than
Waka.
Yeah.
He could be the grandfather.
Oh, he could.
Fozzie Bear as the grandpa.
That could be really fun.
Yeah. If he's leading around a little kid and he's like
making goofy mistakes.
Let's drink this soda and we'll float up into the air.
That's true. That could be really fun. I used to work in Wonka's factory. I got fired
because I probably did something dumb.
Oh man!
Please, Hollywood, please make this movie
and send us your ideas for people. Yes. Send us your ideas for who should be cast into the Wonka version, or into the Muppet version of the Wonka world.
I was trying to come up with a funny name: Muppets, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. That's probably what they would go with. Something basic.
Yeah, they would.
Okay, so I have one other thing I wanted to talk about real quick, just because I'm curious. It's all over the news. I do not really care about it very much, which is funny because I feel like it's something, if it's real, we should care about. Have you been following the UFO stories?
I heard about them briefly, but I have not been following them.
All right, so what do you think about it all? Because it's fascinating. And so do you think aliens exist? Let's start with that one.
I mean, no. Call me like the greatest skeptic, but no. Yeah.
So the reason it's been in the news is that specifically the Navy pilots are like the ones that are really catching people off guard or whatnot. And so they have unidentified aerial something or other. I can't remember the different UAF or UAP. It's unidentified aerial phenomenon.
Okay.
Right. And they're like, why did you change it from unidentified flying object? It's the same thing. UFO, UAP. But there's a theory that like, there are thousands of these, like things that we cannot identify. And then they've had people come in and they're just talking about this stuff. And basically there's flying objects doing things we can't predict. So it'll like change speed or go in a direction we weren't expecting or whatever. And we just don't know what it is. And so it's like our machines, our equipment are picking up weird things that we can't explain. And as that realization comes into the public eye, people are so excited and talking about aliens, and they're like, oh my gosh. Recently there was a guy, like these are pilots and people who really do not want to be laughed at, right? These are not like hoax or conspiracy theorists. These are like serious people. And they're starting to testify and about this stuff in court in locations where they're not lying. And so it's just got everybody like all a Twitter about it.
A Twitter
about it.
Not a thread about it?
No, they're on threads too.
I guess, I don't know. I guess for me, like, I'm okay with not really caring. Like, there are a lot of unexplained things in the world, and it's okay. I don't have to, like, get so, like, worked up about something that really doesn't make much difference, you know?
Well, and there's, like, really kind of easy explanations for almost everything. It's like, oh, probably it was on the edge of our sonar or the edge of our equipment or whatever, and we just didn't pick it up clear enough to understand it. Or the pilot saw something out of the corner of their eye. They're flying really fast. They just didn't see it right or whatever. It's possible that it's a certain country. A lot of people suggest China because they're very advanced, testing something that we haven't figured out yet. So they're testing a weapon that we don't understand. And, oh, my gosh, what is that?
Yeah.
And then there was one guy who testified and said that they found at the crash site or whatever, they found this thing, that it was like non-human biologics. They were like, we found non-human biologics on it. And everybody freaked out and said, it's aliens, it's aliens, it's aliens. And it's like, well, you know that all life on Earth except for humans counts as non-human biologics.
Right.
So it could have been like bacteria on a windshield of a Chinese plane. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it's actually very easy to explain. I think the cool thing to say right now is, because of how big the universe is and all the billions and billions of stars that are out there, and they're so huge that it's mathematically very likely that there are advanced civilizations. I think that's I think that's what people think they're supposed to say now. Like, it used to be like, no, smart people don't believe in aliens, right? But it's fun for sci-fi. And now I think it's like, no. Scientifically, mathematically, probably there are advanced civilizations. That makes sense. And I just don't think it's real. I just don't think that's true.
I just don't think it matters. That's where I'm at. So. Okay,
so I have one other element to the UFO stuff. So
okay.
I just don't think they're out there. I think that would be super fun, and I'm not against it at all. My gut tells me, nah. You know, like, I bet we find life, as in like plant life or something, on other planets someday, maybe. But I just don't think that, I don't think that there is intelligent life out there. It's just my personal gut feeling. However, people have said, so hypothetically, if aliens show up, like intelligent, humanoid type aliens of some kind of sentient life, how does that work with the covenant of Jesus? Does Jesus' sacrifice, so first off, does original sin and, the breaking of creation, does that apply to every planet, our whole universe, or is that just for the earth? And then, is Jesus' sacrifice atone for the sins of humans or of all creation?
This is why I don't believe that aliens exist on other planets. Like, yeah, I just don't. I don't know. Like, I'm sure people are like, "What is wrong with you, Sarah? You're ridiculous." And I, quite frankly, I just don't care.
Nobody ever that you think that people think.
But I
that.
just don't. I don't know. Like, God made the earth, and He put us on it, and that's it. Like, I don't think He was like, and we're going to throw some people out here on this random planet way out, billions of light years away. Like, I don't know. I don't think that there's life out there, and I don't think that any of that is applicable to some life forms out there. I don't. Yeah, I don't think so.
No, and I just think it's an interesting thought experiment to be like, okay, but would Jesus' sacrifice cover it? And I figure probably, I don't know. I've heard about, like, lots of people have been talking about this stuff recently because that's what's in the world. And I think the covenant of Jesus was pretty clearly with humans, with the people of this earth, the descendants of Abraham,
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think if there's intelligent life, which I don't, but if there was, they would have their own kind of covenant with God, and they would have their own way of interacting with God, which would be interesting to complement to ours. But no, it does just sort of reinforce the nah.
Yeah. I don't know.
But it wouldn't, the existence of aliens showing up would not shatter my faith or really alter it at all. Mm-mm. Like, people are like, well, wouldn't that just blow your mind and prove to you that you're wrong about the existence of God?
No, because God could do different things in other places. It doesn't limit what He does here, and that doesn't change, what He is and who He is here. I just know that doesn't change anything.
No, I'd be excited to learn about them. It wouldn't hurt my faith at all. People would be like, well, you'd stop going to church, right? It's like, no, of course.
Why? Why?
I still love God. He's still there and still loves us. So
yeah, that's weird.
Yeah.
Oh.
So anyways, I just had to squeak in a little Muppet talk and a little UFO talk.
It's very weird topics for today. So,
all right. Well, we're back. I'm off vacation, and we're back to normal schedules, and so now you can trust that there will always be a new episode on Fridays. All right, you ready to send us out with the mom joke of the week?
I am. So, did you hear about the broken guitar for sale?
No.
It came with no strings attached.
If a guitar only was missing strings, I'd be thrilled because that's not actually broken.
No, it's not.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.